In a grant application, how do we answer the question, what will you do and why? Obviously, this is intending to be around what will you do with the money and why will you do it? Well, this is a question that I've seen a few times on grant applications, and simply as a matter of practice, it is very important that a grant writer can answer this question very clearly. So I'm Benjamin Dean from grantgetting.com. I hope you enjoyed this video and others like it on the channel, which are aimed at helping you get more grants. There's a link in the description with additional resources relative to answering this question. So I see this question as really having three components. One is the end goal, two is the plan, and three is the why. How you structure these three things is really up to you. Traditionally, you might say to start with the end goal, and that's, sort of how this is done many times, is you're starting with this is where we are going. This is the opportunity in terms of the end goal to give something visionary, give something big, bold, but somewhat realistic and tangible in actual terms. So if you're working on reducing recidivism rates in your correctional system, if that's your project or your interventions are aimed at that, then you might have a goal to become the first municipality in the United States with 5 years in a row of sub 5% recidivism rates or something like that, right? Some smart goal, right? Specific, measurable, achievable, and so forth. That is a great direction to go. Something bigger and visionary. Okay. The listener will be better prepared to understand a plan if they can understand where that plan is leading towards. They're better, folks will be better prepared to listen to more details or read more details if they have a sense of where you're going. So if you're looking at homelessness and your goal is to reduce homelessness by 80% in your city by 2030 or by 2040 or whatever the number is, that is something that can be understood very clearly. It's a clear metric. Okay. So that's one way to start. So there's an end goal of all the things that you're doing, what you are doing and why. There's an end goal. That's number one. Number two is detail the plan. So the idea being once you've painted the vision or the end result, you want to get into the details. What are you going to do to reach this end goal? What is the meat of this response? You break it down into steps. What are the main actions or milestones, the major things that need to be accomplished over some period of time in order to reach that goal? How will you carry them out? You want to be as specific as you can. This is where funders will be able to see that your plan is not just an idea, but it's well thought out and it is in some ways an actionable project. If there are partners involved, you want to mention them. If there are certain resources that you already have, you'll mention those. If there are resources that you need, you'll mention those and potentially explain how you plan to obtain them. Make it clear that you've done your homework. This is the meat of this response. You've done your homework. You know what it takes. You've benchmarked other things. You've talked with other people. You've piloted programs, whatever the case is, and you're prepared to implement your plan immediately and successfully. Okay, that's the meat. Number three is why. Okay, so this is the section that's more of the emotional connection. In this response, it's why this project is important and also very, very important to address why now. Why now is something that many grant writers do not hit on, and they may have a 10 out of 10 grant application, but if they did not create the sense of urgency, then when it comes down to splitting hairs and truly splitting the pot of money, the urgent project, all other things being equal, is going to win out. The shovel ready project, the project ready to roll right now, and that being coupled with the situation being urgent right now, or the opportunity being urgent, that will win out. So your why can include the urgency of this. But even more than that, it's the emotional connection. It's where you can align your project with the funder's goals. You want to show that your project not only makes sense, but also addresses a critical and pressing needs in the community. So, for instance, if your project deals with community health, you'll want to make sure that the health issue is described as being urgent and why the project is best suited to address it. Make sure your why resonates with the values and the mission of the funding organization that you're speaking to. So, this answer will change, obviously, on every grant application. This is also the chance to talk about your own personal story or a personal story, a client transformation story, a community transformation story that illustrates why this is important, why you're doing this, why this will work. Okay, anything relating to why. Testimonials are great, stories are great, personal anecdotes are great, personal transformation stories. When I first joined this organization, this is what was going on in the environment. We're 4 years later, and this is what we see now, and these are our results. We are encouraged by these results, and we're applying our learnings to this program. I am thrilled to be in a position of leadership to be able to do this. Let's go, right? So it's the why. Okay, so these are the three things. This is a quick one. If you follow these three items, if you break down this question into goal, planned, why, you can play around with it. Now, more nuanced ways of doing this would be to actually start with the story, start with the emotional connection or the hook or what you believe. Starting with the answer of why are you doing this, then getting into the end goal and then the plan. And then there would be some sort of wrap up after that. Okay, but you can play with this. If you have these three components mapped out, you can see what feels best for you. There's a free guide that's linked in the description if you want some more information on this particular question. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or any thoughts, pop them in the comments, and I'd love to respond there. Thanks so much, and we will see you in the next video.